Hi, it's Rafael the Realtor. So in this video, we want to talk about offers and the offer process. So if you're buying a home, making an offer is going to be one of the most critical parts in the whole process because the offer is generally two sides going head to head. And so one side is going to be the side that you want to get the house that you love. You found a house, this is the house you want to buy it. And the other side's gonna be, but you want a deal, you wanna save money. And so those two things are gonna be usually conflicting, and that creates issues with the offers. So I'm gonna tell you there are generally three kinds of offers that you're gonna run into when you're either buying a home or you're selling a home. And there's gonna be the first offer, which is going to be a lowball offer. Let's start there. And these are offers, well, let's say offer under asking. And these are offers that are going to be less than what they have listed. If they're selling their house for $500, this is going to be an offer that's for $499, $498, $495, all the way down to $300,000. And in that, there's going to be two kinds of under asking price offers. There's going to be under asking price offers that are reasonable and under asking price offers that are going to be called lowball. Lowballs, like I've said in countless of my other videos, are generally not ever a smart move. Some people think it's like negotiating in downtown LA, or if you've been to Bangkok or anything like that, you've been negotiating, then you know that you start low and work your way up. In real estate, that's one of the worst ways to negotiate because it puts you on an invisible list. And it puts that agent who's working with you on an invisible list. I've seen agents walk away from clients, and I've walked away from some clients who put in too many lowball offers. There have been times they put in lowball offers and it's worked out. But if it's a consistent pattern of lowball offers, most agents will say this person isn't serious, and it doesn't. Real estate agents are professionals, and it's very unprofessional to put in a lowball offer that's not based on anything, that's just based on the whims of a client. And a real estate agent will walk away from a client that does that too often, and you could create a reputation for yourself as someone who's not a serious client. And then you'll find yourself jumping from agent to agent to agent to agent because you're not someone that anyone considers serious, and that could be a problem for you. And also on the agent side, if they end up putting in too many lowball offers, I remember when I first started being a real estate agent, I didn't really understand this, nobody taught me, and it kind of gets you shunned to some extent. Like, how did I feel after I put in a lot of lowball offers for one client and I came in with another client and I sent the email to the person and I called them and said, hey, I sent you an offer. And they're all, oh, another one of your lowball offers, huh? And that was the initial idea, because when I started working with the first client, I was just, doing my job. They wanted this price, I did it. But I didn't really advise them properly. And so when that started affecting my second client, I realized I made a mistake. And I went back and apologized to those agents and said, hey, you know what? I was new, I didn't understand it, but I understand now. And I will inform my clients better. And so since then, I put in offers that are going to work for my client. I don't try to stare them to pay too much, but then at the same time, I make it very clear to them that you need to pay or be willing to put an offer that works. And I will tell them, or we can't work together. And usually they're understanding. They're like, okay, if it's not worth it, they're not going to do it. But then if it is, then they put in an offer that works. So lowball offers are no good. So there are other, under asking price offers, and those ones, they're fine. It's a good way to negotiate. Sometimes you come in, and if you have a lower offer, if you're working with me, usually I will explain to them why I did it. And I'd say, hey, you know what? We noticed these issues in the house. These are problems for us, and we feel like it's going to create a problem when we buy the house. So this is why we felt we want to buy this much. It's not going to guarantee that you're going to get the house, but some people aren't going to notice those things and be willing to pay more. And unfortunately, I can't put out an advertisement to tell them like, hey, don't buy it because it has these problems. So you kind of have to look at that and decide for yourself. The second kind of offer is going to be your asking price offer. And a lot of times if the person selling the house is a good agent, that asking price offer is a very fair price. It's what the other houses in the market are going for, and things are going to work out. Sometimes that asking price might be a little lower, which is going to draw in a lot of people and maybe start a bidding war. And they might end up getting more than what the house is actually worth. So asking price, if you offer that, doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get the home, and it might put you into a bidding war. So there has been a situation where I saw a house, we were going to buy it with my client, and I told him, hey, pay this much more. And they were like, why? And I said, because it's a good price and this house is going to get a lot of offers. And luckily they did get a lot of offers, but we had a very strong offer and we were able to win it, and that was great. And that's what you want. So sometimes you're going to get asking price and you're going to put it in there, and that takes us to our third kind of offer, which are over asking offers. And so sometimes the house might be worth $500,000. You love the house. You know this is everything you want. You talk with me and we say, this house is actually worth a little bit more than what they're selling it for. And you might say, you know what? I don't want to have to compete with anyone. I want the house to go to me. And so we put in an offer and say, hey, this is our offer. We're going to pay this much. And you might say, it might be a $500,000 house, and you might say you'll pay $510,000 for it. You'll pay $515,000 for it. And then we could work with the contract and put in stipulations like, but we don't want to compete. You either take our offer or you don't come back with the counter and take whatever other offer you get. And depending on what the situation is, we feel it out and see what would work best to negotiate to get you the deal. So those are the three kinds of offers. And generally your offer is going to have a few parts in it that are pretty important. The first thing is going to be your offer price, how much you're going to pay for the house. You're telling them, this is what I'm going to offer you for the house. The second part is going to be your deposit. You always have to put a deposit. Most people right now put around $5,000 to $10,000 down. Sometimes to make your offer stronger, you might put down $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 as a down payment, and you do that and the seller says, wow, this person's way more serious than the $5,000 person, or this person has more liquid income than the other people, so they might be a bit more trustworthy. And then from there we go into the terms of your offer. How much are you doing a down payment? So if you have 20% down, if you're buying a $500,000 house and you have $100,000 for your down payment, a seller would see that and feel very comfortable, like this person has cash, we can make the deal work. On the other hand, you might be coming in with a FHA loan or another loan that you only have to put down 3% or so on. Unfortunately, most people, they don't care too much but they do care if they see more cash, and I'll get into that into the future. And so you put in your terms, how much you're going to put as a down payment, how much of a loan you're taking out. Sometimes people take out two loans because they don't have a down payment and they get a secondary loan and they use that as a down payment. So that's a possibility as well in some cases if it works out. And so you might run into that, or that's definitely something you have to do in the offer. After that, another major point is going to be your contingencies. So the main contingencies you're going to run into, you could put as many contingencies as you want, but the main ones that you're going to run into is going to be your appraisal, your loan contingency, and your inspection contingency. So those three things tend to be the ones that people focus on the most. So the appraisal is basically saying, hey, if this house doesn't appraise for full value. So if I'm offering you $500,000 and the appraiser says, oh, it's only worth $450,000, I don't have to buy your house. And so that gives you a chance, and usually you set a number of days. It might be 12, 15, 17 days. There's a standard day, but I don't want to go into all of that. And it's usually like somewhere around 15 days that you say, we're going to get it appraised. And if the prices match up, if I am offering you $500,000 and the appraiser says the house is worth $500,000, then we're all good. And you want that to work out because if the appraiser says less, the bank's going to give you less money based on what the appraiser says. So you want those things to line up. And if the appraiser finds any problem with the house, you also want that all taken care of. So they're taking care of the appraisal, getting it done, fixing any issues with it quickly is going to be really important So you have that contingency, because that contingency protects you if you need to back out for any reason regarding the appraisal. The inspection contingency is a similar thing, and this is based on inspecting the home. You're gonna have your termite inspection, you're gonna have your home inspection. If you see weird things and you wanna do a roof inspection or check for lead or check for radon or any of those things, maybe you have an allergy and you need to check to make sure this house isn't by a specific kind of mineral. Whatever the issue is, you're gonna have a time period to do that. And if you find one of those issues in the house, you can say, hey, you know what? I can't buy this house because of this issue. And they're gonna give you back your deposit and you get to walk away scot-free. And so that's the second contingency. It's really important. And we usually look at it. Some people say, hey, you know, I could go in there in 7 days and know if I'm gonna buy this house or not. And so you may make a shorter contingency. Your appraisal might be 7 day, your home inspection might be 7 day, and that might make it very easy for you to win the offer, because they're like, wow, this person's really ready to move fast. The last appraisal is going to be your loan contingency, and that's the one where you say, if my loan falls through, if the bank says, hey, you know what, we can't give you the money anymore, then you could walk away from the deal with no problem and get your money back. And that might happen if, you know, the appraisal comes in for 640 for 450. And you put an offer for 500, and you really don't have the money to make it up. And this is what I was talking about earlier. They might pick that person with $100,000 down payment, because if the appraisal comes in at 450, they have some money to wiggle, some cash to wiggle with, in order to be able to make up the difference. If you don't have that kind of cash, if you're only putting down $10,000, $20,000, then when that happens, you're not going to be able to pay the 450. So if we can't negotiate them down from 500,000, which was your offer, to 450, then you're going to run into a situation where the deal's not going to go forward. And at that point, you could say, hey, loan contingency, my loan didn't work out, I'm walking away. And then we just close up the deal and we go look for another house for you. So the loan contingency is really important, and it's usually the last one we take off. Because once the loan says, hey, we're ready to go, the deal closes usually like in a week from there. So if that's everything, you're gonna be in good shape. And from there, there's more to the offer. I don't wanna go into it here because it's gonna take even longer than this video is. We can go over that in person. And I do have some videos for my personal clients that I made that go over the offer paper and any of the contracts we do, so that you get a better idea for what all those contracts mean. But I don't put those ones out to the public because, well, one, I don't want information like that, because like I said in my contract video, contracts are always changing, and being able to control it makes sure that I only give the most updated and factual videos to my clients, and I don't want old videos circulating on the internet and you blaming me. So thank you very much for watching this video. If you're looking to buy your house, these are some of the things that you should look out for. There's way more. The offers pages, it's like 12 pages long. There's way more than this, but this is just some basic about putting in your offer and what it's going to be like, okay? So if you have any other questions, definitely give me a call, send me a text or an email, and I'll be here to help you out. And like I always say, you can't always be the best at everything, but you could choose to work with the best agent who gives you great information for free. All right, thank you very much.